My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat drowning out the gentle murmur of the bistro around me. My wife, Sarah, sat just 2 tables away, her head thrown back in laughter, a stranger's hand resting intimately on her knee. And then he leaned in, his lips finding hers, a slow, tender kiss that stole the air from my lungs. Just minutes before, my phone had buzzed with her text, "Stuck late at work, love you." Was I wrong for what I did next? For the way I handled the absolute gut-wrenching betrayal unfolding before my very eyes? Tell me, honestly, would you have done the same thing? It all started so innocently, didn't it? Every great heartbreak always does. Sarah and I had been together for 10 beautiful years, married for 7 of them. We met in college, a whirlwind romance of late-night study sessions turning into late-night talks, shared dreams, and an undeniable connection. She was everything I thought I wanted: vibrant, intelligent, with a laugh that could chase away any shadow. I was a software engineer, steady, reliable, perhaps a little too predictable, but I loved her fiercely. Our life together was comfortable, almost idyllic. We had a cozy home in the suburbs, 2 dogs, and a routine that felt safe and reassuring. We talked about having kids, about future vacations, about growing old together in rocking chairs on a porch somewhere. There were no flashing red lights, no glaring warning signs. Or perhaps I was just too blind to see them. Lately, though, things had felt off. Subtle shifts that in isolation meant nothing but strung together now painted a horrifying picture. Sarah, who always looked forward to our quiet evenings, had started taking on more extra projects at her marketing firm. Initially, I was proud of her ambition. "That's my girl," I'd say, squeezing her hand when she'd explain another late night. She was always so good at her job, a real go-getter. Then the work dinners started. Networking, she called them, important for her career trajectory. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? We were married. We were a team. I trusted her implicitly. I remember one evening she came home particularly late, smelling faintly of a perfume I didn't recognize, too sweet, too heavy. She brushed it off, saying a colleague had spilled something on her. I nodded, made her a cup of tea, and listened to her animatedly describe a new client pitch. I was so wrapped up in her enthusiasm, so proud of her apparent drive, that I dismissed the small, nagging voice in the back of my mind. The voice that whispered, *something's different*. Our sex life, once passionate and frequent, had dwindled to almost nothing. When I tried to initiate intimacy, she'd often be too tired or stressed from work. I attributed it to her demanding schedule. I tried to be understanding, supportive. "It's okay, honey," I'd say, pulling her close for a platonic hug. "Just relax, we'll connect when you're less swamped." I told myself I was being a good husband, patient and empathetic. Now I see I was being a fool, a naive, trusting fool. She started spending more time on her phone, always with it clutched in her hand, even in the bathroom. If I walked into a room, she'd quickly flip the screen down or switch apps. When I playfully tried to peek over her shoulder, she'd snap, a sharp, uncharacteristic irritation in her voice. "Privacy, John. I'm just looking at work emails." I would apologize, feeling like I had overstepped, like I was being paranoid. The insidious doubt, once a tiny pinprick, was slowly expanding, a dark stain spreading across the canvas of our marriage. Then came the credit card statement, a rather large, unexplained charge for a high-end boutique hotel downtown. When I asked her about it, she feigned confusion. "A hotel? Oh, that must be a company expense. We had a team offsite last month, remember? Maybe they booked a block of rooms and it shows up weird on my card sometimes, then they reimburse me." It sounded plausible enough, given her job, but the hotel wasn't the usual corporate chain her company used. It was known for its romantic suites, its discreet atmosphere. Still, I pushed the suspicion down. I told myself I was being ridiculous, that I was letting my insecurities get the better of me. After all, I loved her, and she loved me, didn't she? The day of the incident, a Tuesday, started like any other. Sarah left for work early, kissing me goodbye with a distracted peck on the cheek, already engrossed in an email on her phone. "Big presentation today," she mumbled. "Wish me luck." I wished her luck, genuinely. My own day was less demanding. I had a rare afternoon free, a lull in my project schedule. I decided to treat myself to a quiet lunch at a new bistro I'd heard good things about, a charming little place with outdoor seating, perfect for people watching. I dressed casually, just a t-shirt and jeans, eager for some solitude and a good book. I drove to the bistro, found a nice table tucked away in a corner, ordered my food and settled in. I was halfway through a chapter when I heard her laugh. That distinctive, melodious laugh that had once been the soundtrack to my happiness. My head snapped up. And there she was. Sarah, 2 tables away. Not in her usual work attire, but in a dress I'd never seen before, a vibrant blue that hugged her figure perfectly. Her hair was styled, makeup impeccable. She looked stunning, radiant even, and she was with a man I'd never seen before. He was handsome, well-dressed, with a confident smile. My blood ran cold. The food in front of me suddenly tasted like ash. My hands started to tremble. This wasn't a work dinner. This wasn't a team offsite. This was something else entirely. I watched them, a silent, invisible observer, my heart twisting tighter with each passing moment. They were holding hands across the table, gazing into each other's eyes, an intimacy that was utterly devastating to witness. It was clear as day. This wasn't a casual lunch with a colleague. This was a date, a very romantic date. I pulled out my phone, my fingers fumbling, and started recording. Not because I wanted to shame her, not immediately, but because a part of me, a small, desperate part, still wanted proof that my eyes weren't deceiving me, that this wasn't some cruel hallucination. I zoomed in subtly, capturing their smiles, their touches. And then, as if on cue, my phone buzzed. It was her. A text message. "Stuck late at work, love you." The words, once a source of comfort, now felt like a cruel mockery. A lie delivered with such casual ease while she was actively betraying me just yards away. The juxtaposition was sickening. The tenderness of her words in the text, the tenderness of her kiss with another man. It was too much. The world tilted on its axis. My vision blurred, a hot wave of anger and grief washing over me. I wanted to storm over there, to yell, to make a scene, to shatter their stolen moment. But something held me back. A strange, cold clarity, a desire to understand, to witness the full extent of this deception before I acted, to gather every single piece of evidence. I watched for another agonizing hour, every second feeling like an eternity. They shared dessert, their heads closed together, whispering. They laughed at private jokes. They behaved like a couple deeply, madly in love. The man stroked her hair away from her face, his thumb lingering on her cheek. And then, as they were getting ready to leave, he pulled her in for that kiss. The long, lingering kiss that had punched the air right out of my lungs. It was then I knew. There was no denying it, no explaining it away. My wife was having an affair. The woman I had built my life with, the woman I loved more than anything, was cheating on me. My entire world, the foundation I had so carefully constructed, shattered into a million pieces. I stayed hidden, my face a mask of stone, until they walked out arm in arm, disappearing down the street. Only then did I allow myself to move. I paid the bill, my hands still shaking, and stumbled out of the bistro. The bright afternoon sun felt harsh, blinding. I got into my car, but I couldn't drive. I just sat there, the engine off, the text message still glowing on my phone screen, an incandescent lie. "Stuck late at work, love you." The words echoed in my mind, a tormenting loop. I replayed the kiss, the laughter, the intimate touches. Every single interaction I had dismissed, every fleeting doubt I had stifled, came flooding back, each a sharp, agonizing stab. The perfume, the credit card charge, the phone secrecy, the excuses for late nights, the lack of intimacy. It all made horrifying sense now. I had been living a lie, a carefully constructed illusion, and the woman I trusted most had been the architect of it all. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. My entire marriage, my entire life as I knew it, had imploded in a single, gut-wrenching moment. I had the undeniable proof, the text, the video. Before I tell you what happened next, what I did when I finally got home, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have confronted her immediately, publicly? Would you have waited? How would you have handled this level of betrayal? I drove home on autopilot, a hollow ache in my chest. The house felt alien, sterile. Every photograph of Sarah and me, every memento of our life together felt like a cruel joke. I wanted to rip them all down, smash them, erase every trace of her. But I didn't. I walked into our bedroom, the place where we had shared so many intimate moments, and sat on the edge of the bed we still shared, the bed where she had presumably lied next to me after being with him. The thought was repulsive. I felt physically sick. I replayed the video I'd taken on a loop, trying to find some detail, some nuance, some way to unsee it, to make it all a terrible misunderstanding. But there was none. It was undeniably clear. I waited. I don't know why. Maybe I needed time to compose myself, to formulate a plan. Maybe I was still hopping foolishly for some miraculous explanation that would undo everything. I spent the next few hours in a haze, scrolling through old photos on my phone, remembering the girl I fell in love with, trying to reconcile that image with the woman I had seen kissing another man. The dissonance was unbearable. Around 7 p.m. I heard her car pull into the driveway. My body tensed. My heart started its frantic rhythm again. I heard her fumbling with her keys, then the front door opening. "Honey, I'm home." Her voice, so bright and cheerful, ripped through me. She walked into the living room, briefcase in hand, a tired but triumphant smile on her face. "Long day, babe. That presentation went great, though." She sounded so convincing, so utterly normal. It was almost impressive, in a horrifying way, the ease with which she could lie. I stood up, facing her. My expression must have been unreadable, a blank canvas of shock and pain. She paused, her smile faltering slightly. "What's wrong, John? You look like you've seen a ghost." I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady, to stop the tremor that threatened to betray the earthquake raging inside me. "Actually, Sarah," I said, my voice coming out colder than I intended, "I think I saw something far worse than a ghost today." Her eyes flickered, a tiny, almost imperceptible shift, but I saw it. The mask began to crack. "What are you talking about?" she asked, a forced lightness in her tone. I pulled out my phone, the screen still displaying her text message, the 4 words that had sealed my fate. "Stuck late at work, love you." I held it out to her. "You sent me this at 1:30 p.m. today." She glanced at the phone, then back at me, her brow furrowed in feigned confusion. "Right, and at 1:45 p.m., I continued, my voice now a low, dangerous growl. "I was 2 tables away at the new bistro on Elm Street, watching you kiss another man." The color drained from her face. Her jaw went slack. The briefcase clattered to the floor, spilling its contents, some papers, a pen, a lipstick. Her carefully constructed facade crumbled entirely, revealing the raw panic beneath. "John, I can explain." The words were a desperate whisper. "Can you?" I challenged, my voice rising now, the dam finally breaking. "Can you explain the lies, the late nights, the work dinners, the secret phone calls? Can you explain how you could look me in the eye every single day, tell me you loved me while you were doing this?" I gestured vaguely, encompassing the entire painful scenario. Tears welled in her eyes, but they felt like crocodile tears to me, born of being caught, not of genuine remorse. It just happened. He's a client, John. It was a mistake, I swear." "A mistake," I scoffed, a bitter, humorless laugh escaping my lips. "A mistake doesn't last for months, Sarah. A mistake isn't 'I love you' texts while you're making out with someone else. A mistake isn't buying dresses you've never worn for me but wear for him." I pulled up the video on my phone, my thumb hovering over the play button. "Shall we watch the mistake together? Relive the tenderness, the laughter, the lingering kiss?" She recoiled, her hand flying to her mouth. "No, John, please don't." "Why not?" I spat, the anger finally overwhelming me. "You had no problem doing it in public, in broad daylight where anyone could see you. What's the difference if your husband sees it too?" "I'm so sorry," she sobbed, sinking onto the sofa, her face buried in her hands. "I messed up. I know I messed up." "Sorry doesn't cut it, Sarah," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion now. The fury had burned itself out, leaving behind only a vast, desolate emptiness. "Sorry doesn't erase the images I saw today. Sorry doesn't bring back the trust you shattered. Sorry doesn't make me unsee you in his arms." We sat in silence for what felt like an eternity, the only sounds her choked sobs. I felt nothing but a profound sense of loss, a chilling numbness. The woman I loved was gone, replaced by a stranger, a deceiver. The future we had planned, the life we had built, had evaporated into thin air. Finally, I spoke again, my voice quiet, decisive. I want a divorce, Sarah. Her head snapped up, her eyes wide with fresh horror. No, John, please don't say that. We can fix this. I'll break it off with him. I'll do anything. Please don't leave me. It's too late, I said, standing up, my gaze fixed on a point beyond her, on the life that was no longer ours. You didn't just break my heart today, Sarah. You broke everything. And some things, once broken, can't be put back together. The next few weeks were a blur of legal meetings, painful conversations, and the slow, agonizing process of untangling two lives that had been so intricately woven together. She tried to fight it, to beg, to plead, but my resolve was solid. The images of her with him, the lying text, the casual betrayal, they were burned into my memory, an unerasable scar. She eventually moved out, taking her belongings, leaving behind a hollow space in our home and an even bigger one in my chest. I heard through mutual friends that she did break up with the other man, but it was too little, too late. The damage was done. My trust was irrevocably shattered. It's been 6 months now since that day at the bistro. The house is quieter, too quiet. The dogs miss her, I think, but they still curl up next to me on the sofa, a comforting presence in the deafening silence. I'm slowly, painstakingly putting the pieces of my life back together. Therapy has helped, giving me a safe space to process the anger, the grief, the profound sense of betrayal. I'm learning to trust myself again, to listen to that small, nagging voice when something feels off. I'm learning to forgive myself for being so blind, for loving so completely that I couldn't see the truth staring me in the face. It's a long road, but I'm walking it. I have to. So that's my story. A story of a text message, 2 tables, and a truth that broke my world. If you were on my side, if you understand the pain of that kind of betrayal, please like this video. Subscribe for more stories like this, because sometimes, knowing you're not alone in your experiences makes the burden a little lighter. And share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. I'll see you all in the next story.